Okay, 9/9/24 at 9 a.m. Sounds like a bunch of nines. Yep. You got Epidemic, instrumental or royalty-free background music, like if you're in a dentist's office. 9/9/80. Happy birthday to Lee up there in Virginia. 9/9/80. I don't think it was 9 a.m. I think it was in the afternoon of 9/9. Yep, I was there. Taking pictures, of course, way before it was permitted to take pictures in a operating room environment. Yep. Down here in, I think, Plantation. Yeah. 9/9/80. That was a few years ago, huh? Yeah, I was there. Taking pictures with my Hasselblad film camera at the time. Yeah, there was no signs of digital at that point. But a few years later, I adopted digital in 1997 or so. Yeah. Way before people were taking pictures in digital, I was digital. Yes, sir. Yep. I paid, I'm sorry to say, like $24,000 for a 6-megapixel camera called the DCS-560. You can look it up. DCS-560. It was a joint venture between Kodak, who made the imager, and Canon, who made the camera. And they produced a camera that was, full-size 35mm professional camera, styled after the EOS 1N, which was the bee's knees of film cameras for Canon. Big company, huge company. But they knew that Kodak made the best imagers at the time. So they teamed up with Kodak. They made the imager. They put it back there where the film plane used to be. And it was, digital. I think it was a full frame digital camera, 6 megapixels, 6 million pixels. And this little stopwatch thing that you see counting 4 minutes and 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. That has a 45 million pixel imager in it, in this iPhone. Oh my God. Tomorrow the new iPhone 16 gets announced, and we'll hear all about why the iPhone 16 is so spectacular. The iPhone has given a rebirth to photography, because now everyone can take a picture. And everyone has everyone, but there are several billion iPhones out there. I think 2.4 billion to be exact. iPhone expects to sell, just under 300 million iPhone 16s, a year from now. They'll sell 20 million next month, or this month. They're making them phones like crazy, packing them up in boxes and getting them delivered to spots all over, in Kansas City and in a huge depot right next to the UPS site in Kansas City. You know, if you were to throw a dart for the middle of the United States, if that was the bullseye, if you were to throw that dart and hit the bullseye, it would be Kansas City, Missouri. Well, accordingly, there's a crossroads there somewhere. And there's a world center where countries all over the world ship supplies into that central spot so that then it can be dispersed all over the United States. Well, iPhone 16, boxed and crated and pallets worth of iPhones, you know, tens of thousands of them per is wide jet transportation cargo jet airplanes that are leaving Shenzhen, China for the World Center in Kansas City, so that some lucky customer who decides to buy an iPhone 16 can get it on Friday morning or Monday morning or whatever day Apple decides is going to be the grand opening day. And we're talking about all the Apple stores. They have an incredible event at their store. I went to one. Just one. Oh my lordy. Woo! You know, you stand online, you get I said, okay, Marilyn, I'm gonna go play crazy iPhone person. And I'm gonna have my iPhone with me, and I'm gonna pick up 2 tickets. Each person is permitted 2 tickets. You know, for the people that are standing online, they come through with a cart. You know, a roller cart, and they have, coffee things, styrofoam cups, and cream and sugar, and just, I mean, they're very nice. Bottles of water. They're very nice for the people that have stood online all night. And outside the mall, I'm talking about the Boca Mall situation. And you have to line up like behind the mall. Which is on the very easterly part of the mall. And you have to stand across the street. You're not even allowed to get on the perimeter road. You have to get on the outside of the perimeter. And they have guards, mall guards. Yeah, the mall police are out there. Yeah, people. And then they've got the police backing up, the mall police. So it's police squared. Anyway, so I got there at 2:15 in the morning a few years ago, quite a few years ago. I think it was iPhone 4, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was iPhone 5. It was early on. It's iPhone 16 now, so it was 10 years ago. And I wrote a story, and it got published in several of the newspapers. But it got published on my site on FAU for you. That's like Florida Atlantic University, the number 4, and then you. FAU for you. .wordpress.com. And you can read my story, and you can see my digital pictures of me standing in line. It was really quite a celebration. Of all these crazy goddamn people standing in line at 2:30 in the morning for an 8 a.m. grand opening of the Apple Store so you could get yourself an iPhone. So Turns out at 6 a.m., the back door of the mall opens up, and one by one, crazy people like Jimmy, or mostly crazy people, and I was almost crazy people, then spool into the mall, and they got guards, and they guide you around to where the store is. And they have, these stanchions with the velvet covered things like you see in a theater. Yep, and they had those all along the side, keeping you out of the middle of the walkway of the big mall corridors, and kept you over to the right side. And you move around, and then you stop at the front door of the Apple store, which is, of course, closed. But they have displays, and they have like sheets and things on the window so you can't see in. It's really quite interesting. And but you get to know the people online, and the people in front of you, and the people behind you. And of course, I'm yucking it up because I'm trying to find out, who they are and why they're here. Is it their first iPhone? What model do they have now? And what model are they going to get? And, how much memory and, all this chit-chat stuff. And then at 6 a.m., we spool in. I got inside the mall. I had like a couple of hundred people ahead of me. But when they opened the side door of the mall, it was like a stampede. People are jumping over the hedge and stepping on people, running. It was terrible. Jeez. Felt like I was on the Titanic, and all of a sudden, whew, ship is sinking. Everyone has to run to jump off. They're all running to the front of the mall. Jeez. Yeah. This Surrey Bob. So I did that one time. And it was interesting. I wrote a nice article about it. And it took me, the store, let's see. Yep, the store opened at 8 a.m. sharp. But, the Apple people, there was like 3 or 4 Apple people. So at like 7 a.m., they had this cart. And with index cards, all strung out. And apparently that cart had like cards in it. And they were categorized by, what would be like the iPhone. Maybe it was iPhone 10. I don't know. I forget which model number. But let's just use the iPhone 16. And what's going to happen at midnight tonight. I think I got there at like 1:30 in the morning, and it was loads of people out there. I think, God, I thought I'd be the only schmuck out here. Nope. There are hundreds and hundreds of people there. And there was no sense of a line. It was just a mob scene out at the very... I drove around the mall and figured, where the hell is everybody? So I finally got to the very east part of the mall, which is, where they decided to package us. The mall police said, wait here for the door to open. And sometime in the morning before 8, we will open this door. But you all have to wait over there on the other side of the perimeter road. So that's what we did. And then at like 5:45 or 5:50, some people came out and said, okay, you can line up here. So everyone's stampeded for, in front of this guy, big guy. And said, yes, at 6 a.m. this door is going to open. And you people will be allowed to come in one by one, until everyone's lined up on the, you're going to go in, you're going to make a right turn. And then you're just going to follow the stanchions around to the front door of the Apple store. Or online, approaching the front of the Apple Store. So that's what happened. And then this cart comes, this rolling cart with like, it might have been 2 or 3 Apple people pushing this cart. One was pushing the cart. One was serving coffee, tea, water, whatever they wanted to drink. And they proceed along the line, and then they would ask, what phones would you like to get when you get in the store? And I said I would like, 2 iPhones, color white, 512 gigabytes of memory, sir. And he gave me, you're permitted 2 tickets. I said, thank you very much. I'll take 2. So I had my 2 little cards. And I said, well, what does this mean? I said, each one of these cards, he explained it. He said, each one of these cards represents what we have in stock. And so what's remaining in this, tray of cards every card represents a box that we got in the store, in the warehouse in our store. And when we run out of cards in this, then we're basically out of stock. Yeah. Within, don't hold me to it. It's not 100%, but we're pretty close on matching up, what phone, what color, memory choice, and all this stuff is available in the store. And when we run out of cards, it means we're basically out of stock. So the only way someone's going to get a phone, other than having a card, would be if someone got in there, didn't like what they saw, didn't get approved because, there's some layers of financing that's available. So they didn't get approved, and then they couldn't buy the phone, and then the card that they had represents an iPhone that didn't get purchased, which would mean that would be available to someone that's right behind you in line that didn't receive a card. That person would end up being able to buy that phone, and so on and so on and so on. So that's how that worked. So I was, so I called Marilyn on the phone. I said, Marilyn, because she went to work. Let's see. I guess she dropped me off online at 1:30 in the morning, and then went home, went to bed. And then she got up at, whatever the heck, she gets up and that. And then she went to open up her bank. She works at a bank. It was probably several banks ago. Over at the Glades and the Turnpike. I'm trying to think of what they call that bank. I think it's a TD Bank now, which merged. She survived the merger. So it was whatever it was before it was a TD Bank. I'll think of it later, maybe. Anyway, so she dropped me off. She went back to bed, or went to bed, woke up, opened up her branch, and then I said, Marilyn, it's 11 o'clock, and I'm about 40 people away from getting in the store. So I think you need to pack it up and come over here. I don't know whether you need to be in line with me to acquire these phones, or I can just acquire the 2 phones myself. I figured out that one. I think I thought she had to be there. I said, you can. No, I think I learned that every person is allowed to buy 2, not more than 2, so that phones are available for the people. So I could actually acquire the two without her being there. But I think she wanted to be there just for the health of it and give me moral support since I've been online since 1:30 in the morning, and it's now 11:30 in the morning. And 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30, 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30, 9, 10. Oh, God. I think we got in the store at like 11:45. I was online for like 10 hours. Woo! Standing for 10 hours was a treat. But it was exciting, and everyone is all excited about getting a new frickin' iPhone. How silly is that? But, when you're a gadget person, then there are all kinds of people. There are airline pilots and regular folks. And, I was writing an article for a newspaper and writing an article for my own publication at fau4u.wordpress.com. Yes. It's alive and well. You could go there right now. And I wrote a bunch of articles about Teslas, and I wrote a bunch of articles about iPhones and Tesla batteries and, range anxiety. We're on our second Tesla now. Second because the first one was on a 3-year lease, and we turned the car in March of this year and got a 2024 model Tesla, representing our second Tesla. 50,000. It was a $52,700 price. They gave us a special $2,600 discount, which Tesla generally doesn't do. But we got a special discount because they wanted us to make this transaction happen in March, because that's the last month of a quarter, January, February, March. So that'd be the first quarter. And we ended up closing on that like March 19th or something like that. I think it was the 18th or 19th. And so here we are. March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So we're now 6 months. I'm counting my fingers. I'm a freaking math teacher, right? I'm counting months with my fingers. Oh, Lordy. What has the world come to? Anyway, so, we're 6 months into the Tesla. And I'll tell you what, it is amazing. We liked our first Tesla, but I remember telling Marilyn, I says, it's a little bit of a bumpy ride. The Toyota, the Corolla that we had, actually had a little bit smoother ride than this Tesla. How can that be? These guys are supposed to really be on the ball with all this stuff. The suspension is, pretty average or below average, because the ride certainly should be as good as a Honda, Accord or a Toyota Corolla. And it wasn't. It was a little bumpier. Well, guess what? Someone told them that. And they made a Model Y with a smoother ride, because the 2024 version is got a very smooth suspension. So they fixed the suspension. And they also turned up the traction on the regenerative braking, because, if you want to know what it's like to drive a Tesla, think of it as a golf cart with air conditioning. A really, really nice golf cart with air conditioning. So, meaning the single pedal, with a gas car, you take your foot off the gas pedal and you put it on the brake pedal. And then, like stop and go traffic. Then you take your foot off the brake pedal and you depress the accelerator. And then you lift your foot off the accelerator and you put it on the brake pedal. And that's how you deal with stop and go traffic, for example. But not with a Tesla. You press down on the accelerator to go, and you lift up on your accelerator to stop. And you lift it all the way up, and it'll stop, dead stop, And it's single pedal driving. You rarely ever, the only time I put my foot on the brake pedal is when I'm already stopped. In other words, if you stop at a red light and you use your regenerative braking to bring the car to zero forward motion, and then I'll rest my foot on the accelerator. And that's what I do. And so it's really quite nice. Yep. All right. September 9th. Oh, my God. So tomorrow, let's see. Monday morning. Oh, my God. It's 9 o'clock. At 1 o'clock today, 1 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Pacific, 11 o'clock Mountain, noon Central Time Zone, and 1 p.m. Eastern, Apple is going to have its worldwide announcement of some new products, namely the iPhone 16, 16 Pro, 16 Pro Max, the cameras, the advanced technology that it'll have, iOS 18, which will be the operating system, which Marilyn and I have been operating with over the last 4 or 5 months, because we are beta testers for iOS 18, and they have a special icon, like the icon that you touch on your iPhone to open up, to activate an app. Well, they have an icon for beta testers. And if you come up with something where your device got stuck, it froze, something didn't behave the way it's supposed to, you open up that app, with your finger on the iPhone, and you type in, it's got a whole bunch of menus. You have what this, you open you have an iPhone 15, you have the iPhone iOS 18, and what the specifics about which beta iOS 18 you're working with. And then you finally get, after about 8 or 9 different buckets, then you finally can discuss what you think is not operating right with the beta version of iOS 18 that you're talking about. So we're iOS 18 users. Well, today, Apple is going to be, because they've not been talking about iOS 18, the operating system that works, in the new phone, and it'll work in, prior models to a certain point. It goes back about 5 years, and then the phones that are over 5 years old, is my guesstimate of when the cutoff will be, which they'll announce some time, probably today, but they have spent there's a lot of man hours built into the development of the operating system, because after all, that's what makes it run. An iPhone 16 is just a communications and computing device. It's really a very, very sophisticated computer and a very sophisticated communicator. Communicator? Yes, sir. So today, miraculously, they didn't want to have it tomorrow. They usually have it on Tuesdays. But this year they have it on today for some reason. There is a reason. And someone said the reason. And at one point I knew the reason. But I can't remember what it was. There was a reason why they, or maybe it was Mac 9 to 5. You know, that's a you know, a podcasting station that talks about everything Apple. And I think they probably mentioned the reason code on why they went to it. This is one of the few times that Apple has had this kind of an announcement on Monday. It's usually Tuesday. That way, all the media and everybody, their invited guests, you know, can travel on Monday and to get into Cupertino, California, for this event. But they have it on Monday. That means everyone had to travel on Sunday. So, that's the way that goes. There's my little, that's my boy cat with the little white spot on his chin. He's got a very pink nose. Yes, sir. He was looking right at Marilyn took this picture. And she had to tap him on the top of the head to get him to look up a little bit so he could be kind of like peering straight at the camera. These cats are not necessarily photogenic. Ooh, that's even, yeah, how come I didn't do that one? Meaning, let's do a little photo editing on this little character. Let's see. It's a shared photo. I'm not too sure what that means. Let's duplicate it. Save and continue. Cannot duplicate the photo. How come I can't seem to edit this little bugger? Because it wasn't my photo that I took. That's probably it. Show in all photos. Let's do that. Okay. All right. Oh well, live TV, right? That one wasn't looking at me straight on. Ooh, look at that. That's our little black cat. Yeah, there's Marilyn's trying to get him to look straight at the camera. That looks, yeah, I guess, nice picture of our little putty cats. We got two of them. Yes. So we're watching, let's see. Let's get here. What's the name of that? Nicole Kidman is starring, let's see. I'm reading this thing here. The on-screen duo star, Greer and Tag Winberry. Extremely wealthy couple caught up in a murder mystery as one of their children prepares to get married in Nantucket. Yeah, this is a very interesting, I guess, spotlight. Yeah. So, this Naomi Watts was the one originally to be cast in there. And apparently Nicole Kidman and Naomi are buddies, really, really, really good buddies. And she was telling her about the spot and da-da-da. And Nicole said, I'd really like to play that part. Would you mind if I played that part instead of you? And Naomi said, sure. So then Nicole Kidman went to the, who's quite a named actress, of course. So she went to the producers and said, Naomi and I talked, and she says, okay, if I took over her role. Would that be okay with you? And they said, okay. And Nicole Kidman is got the spot, and she's doing it. And they filmed it, and it's a Netflix. It is a fun show to watch. I mean, and it is loaded with some outstanding actresses. Everybody's an actor. Boy or girl, actor. So that's how. So the article I read, that's how close they are. Can you imagine? Naomi said, "Okay, you can take that role," and Nicole got the role. She's actually married to the guy who's the other lead actor, and she was probably figuring, you know what, I've had enough of my husband. Let her deal with it. So that's Tag Winberry. Yes, the on-screen duo star as Greer and Tag Winberry, a seemingly perfect, extremely wealthy couple. But you have to substitute Nicole Kidman in there, and she's a bit taller and stares him right square in the eye. When they stand up next to each other, because Nicole Kidman is a taller person. Anyway, there was some discussion that I was reading about, what do dinosaurs really sound like? And that article had a picture of this beastie running in the twigs. For many dinosaurs, we just don't know what they might have sounded like, But some dinosaurs, we have a pretty good idea what they would have sounded like. I don't know why that would be, but, that's what this article is about. And I just thought it was a interesting artist's rendition of whatever that dinosaur is. Paraphenopsilopsis. I don't know anything about dinosaurs. But there's a F-15 or F-16. They look very similar. And F-16, a Belgian F-16 fighter, takes part in a NATO air nuclear drill. Steadfast Noon. It's regular nuclear deterrence exercise at the Klein Burgel Air Base in Belgium in 2002. That's a Getty image. Yeah, we've taken a lot of air show shots, and you can go on our website 416-1100.com 416-1100.com, just like my phone number. Or it's got a hyphen though, not a dot. 416-1100.com. And at that website, you will see, you got to, scroll down a little bit, and you'll see air and sea shows, mostly air, because they're up in the sky. And the sea part, you're looking horizontally, and you don't get a good view of whatever's going on in the sea. So it was mostly air show. And it was, dating back to 2004, 5, 6, 7, in the very beginning of air showdom. Before everyone decided it was a great idea. I mean, we went to the beach. We went to the very first air and sea show in Fort Lauderdale. And we stayed in one of these little motels directly across the street from the beach. all the way south, south 10th Street, south of Broward, about 10 blocks. When they had wall shakers in the rooms, and the terrazzo floor with sand all over it. They hosed out the place every morning. They had like 20 apartments. So we rented one for a couple of nights. Had a wall shaker in there. So we got it all turned on and got and we walk across and got ourselves propped up next to one of the palm trees, coconut palms. So Brennan, our little weasel that was probably 2 years old, but had allergies and all that stuff. So he was wheezing, and maybe he was 3 or 4. And it was like 30 years ago, right? Or 20 years ago. Yeah, probably 20 years ago. Probably exactly 20 years ago in May. The air show was in May, 20 years ago. So the kid was 10. He had, he had allergies and wheezing and all this stuff. So he was old enough so he could use an inhaler, the albuterol inhaler. And that, but, it kind of wore him out because of his, his breathing issues. So, but anyway, there was, every 30 feet, there was another person on the beach. So you could be on the beach in a spot with a palm tree, that you could put your towel around or next to, and you could draw a 25-foot, 30-foot circle around where you were, and there wouldn't be anybody that would be within that circle. And just imagine 30-foot circles all the way around. 30-foot radius, that is. And that's how popular the air show was 20 years ago. Well, I'll tell you, in the last 20 years, people have decided, whoa, I like these air shows. Now, when you go to the beach or the air show, people are standing next to each other like blades of grass. They're all, you're shoulder to shoulder. Sir. So we don't even forget the beach. We're on the sidewalks, looking at all the crazy people at the beach, on the beach, with their towels, with a 6-foot towel, a 6-foot by 3-foot towel, and they're standing on it, and then the next, it looks like postage stamps all over the beach. Yeah, no, that's too close for comfort. But 20 years ago, it was a lot different. But now, everyone knows what an air show is like. I can actually, you see on this screen right here, I'm going to go full screen in a minute, but if you see where the numbers is, that green one right in, you got the calculator, and then you got numbers. You got the Tesla logo up there, and then you come over here, and you got that thing that looks just like this little doodad right there. Touch that one. Bingo. 416-1100.com. You can see it up there in the top. And producer, make that full screen. Remember, it's a Simulcast. And there are 3 of us working here today. Me, myself, and I. And I'm scrolling down as I explain. Look at that shot at Polo. Woo! International Polo Club in South Florida. Yep. They're both going after that little ball, and they click their sticks, and there's a name for that, and I'll be darned if I can remember what it's called. But it's a special sound, and it's very difficult to get that shot right when those sticks are wrapped around each other. I got lucky. All right, what am I looking for? Air and Sea Show. Let's see if we have a category of such. Look at that. We got categories. We got stakes. We got, here's, see, look at iPhone 7. 12 megapixel cameras. Let me a son of a gun. Maybe it's under public and civic events. Let's go back up to here again. Let's look for public and civic. There he is. Public and civic events. I'm going to touch that one. Public and civic events. There's Marilyn with the camera. What a piece of work. All right, we got a lot of parades. Oh, there we go. There we go. Look at this little guy. I took a picture. That was St. Patrick's Day, 2009. I remember popping that picture. The lady was walking by with this kid with, oh boy, how do you not take that picture? Yeah, Delray Art Show. Look at that. How dramatic is that? That's a painting. Unbelievable. Whew. That was 2010. I took that at 2 p.m. Yeah. Ooh. Here you go. Look at this. We took that picture. This Surrey Bob, 2007. This is 2016. Whoa, boy. That's quite a span of time. Now, this is not easy to get. When you got them flying at each other, let's click that one. That was 2006. 2003. 2024. That's 21 years ago. Woo! Holy mackerel. May 3rd, 2003. Noon to 4 p.m. See, I even wrote that on the picture. Let's click that one. There we go. Air and Sea Show, Fort Lauderdale, May 3rd and 4th, 2003. Over the weekend. One of the world's largest Spectre events. The annual McDonald's Air and Sea Show. Yes, sir. Yeah, see, they like that. This, what, the B-1, the B-2 bomber? Look at that. Whew. That's 21 years ago. And they got helicopters. They got more than one helicopter. See, they pick people up from the sea. That's what they call an air and sea show. There's that B-2 bomber. You can see the guy in the cockpit. They're flying right in front of you. And I'll tell you what, when they fly in front of you, look at that. That's unbelievable. And then when they do what they do to make it go faster, I don't know whether they push on a joystick or, 20 years ago. Now they have a joystick. They fly it like they're flying a helicopter. Look at this. Oh, my God, the stealth. And you can see the guy, he's looking over. You can see he's got his oxygen hose. He's right in the front, boy. You feel like you're in a roller coaster with that when you go up. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty amazing. Joint helicopters. Watch out, you don't touch your blades, or else you go boom. There's an older plane. Apache Princess. And there's the name of the pilot they had right up there. And there's the number of, either the number of bombs that's dropped, or there's a reason code on why they paint that stuff on the front. Look at this. He's getting ready to, 4 engines. He's getting ready to do one of these scoop-a-doop and go straight up. Yeah, and it creates a huge vacuum on the top of the wing because of the momentum, and he's getting ready to, look at the red, the flames coming out of the back end of that stuff. Yeah, wow. Here's that stealth. It's flying directly at me. And it looks, my God, it looks like a piece of seaweed. That thing's flying directly at you or directly away from you, and you can see a little aileron. See, it's up, so it's gonna scoop up. It's apparently flying at us because if that was going the other direction, it would rip that aileron off. So it is flying at me. Now there's a B-2 bomber getting ready to go straight up, and those engines are aimed right at you. So the thunderous sound that makes your lungs vibrate. I mean, these air shows are so dramatic. You can't believe it. They fly together, nice and quietly. But then when they go into full blast off mode, they give you some of these, and then you got towboats and all this stuff. They begin with that, and then they show 3 different years of, this is what the fighters used to be. Whoops, and then, oh my God, I touched the wrong button and it went into ginormous mode. See if we can. There we go. Whoops. Yeah. Full screen. I don't know what. I did something wrong. There we go. When you're on live TV, you never know what happens. But we're paging down until we get to public and civic. And look, I got equestrian. We got all kinds of soccer. Look at these 2 guys. That was in Sweden. And this kid in red is an American kid. And he's running down he's either from Germany or Ireland or something. But they're running after the ball. Yeah. I was actually overseas for 5 weeks or so in 2002. The USA soccer people hired me for I'm going to say $14,000. They paid me $9,000 up front and $4,000 when I got back. And I took pictures of soccer, all kinds of soccer. 192 of us were meeting in I forgot, Amsterdam or something. That's number 4 son, Daniel, in the purple, running after a ball. They're running right at me. This is in Boca Raton. Youth soccer. Sabre soccer. SABR. See, they have Sabre soccer uniforms. Yeah. This is some FAU, college soccer. You talk about intensity. When they get older, they get more intense. Look at this. I've taken tens of thousands of soccer shots for the buttons, I press on that picture and that opens up this whole NCAA conference championship events. Palm Beach Atlantic University, they hired me to take a bunch of soccer shots. Travel photography, plants. We went to Butterfly World. There's a butterfly. Look at that. Yeah. Zoomed in on that guy. We've been hired to take product photography. There's the martini. But to see the special lighting on the bottom there. Yeah, we've done all that. And look at this. FAU classes. I wrote a book called Principles of Digital Photography. And of course let's go back. There we go. So that's the cover of it. See? Principles of Digital Photography and Post-Image Processing. Computer Laboratory Manual. Techniques, Digital Science Projects. James L. Wilson. FAU classes. Yep. There's a CD-ROM that's in the back of the book, which had several hundred images that I used in the classes. And we put a logo on this iced tea glass. That's one of the little projects that we did. This black dot is, the middle of a CD-ROM. You put it in it's like a record. There's no data in the middle of that, very middle, because it doesn't spin fast enough. Anyway, so we had a book and a CD-ROM. And Pearson Education published, they bought the book from me, which is what happens when you publish something. I made up a cover, Principles of Forensic Digital Photography. I never finished that book, unfortunately. I should have. Dr. Henry C. Lee, who I met with a couple years ago, and also 15 years ago. And he agreed to co-author this book with me because there isn't such a handbook that's available to forensics experts that deal with digital photography. Look at that. Forensic Digital Image Development, Post-Image Processing, Digital Security and Authentication. When you're in the world of digital photography, you've got several things you got to do. Not only do you take pictures with digital cameras, but you have to authenticate them, because you have to make sure that the digital image doesn't get commandeered by bad guys. There are a couple of bad guys in the police business. Not many. 1/10 of 1/100th of 1%, some little tiny piece. But there is the potential for a bad guy that knows how to do digital, that can take the weapon out of the hand of the guilty and hide it, so that image doesn't show the weapon in the hand of the murderer, so to speak. I'm making that up. But that's part of, look at this. I took a picture of my keys, and I got one of these police things from my kid's G.I. Joe collection. It was all banged up because the kid was playing with it for, a number of years. So I put it on my keychain, and this key over here is the key to my mailbox. So I just threw that on the table and took a picture of my keys with this policey thingy. But that's not real police. I got it from my kid's G.I. Joe thing. And that turned out to be the cover. And I took a glossy image image of that cover thing. And when I met with Dr. Lee in Phoenix, Arizona, and he said, "Come on out to my room and let's have a private talk and talk about what you want to talk to me about." Because I told him I wanted to meet with him. My daughter was facilitating a big conference in Phoenix, Arizona, with all these digital, lawyers and photographers and, forensics people like Henry Lee. And it was, there were 20 leading experts with different disciplines, to deal with evidence collection and, digital imaging and all this kind of stuff. So I asked Robin, I said, "Could I meet you there?" And she said, "Yeah, you can stay in my room." you know. I got a big room and with an extra suite bedroom thingy. So you can stay in my suite room. That way you don't have to buy a separate room. So I met her there. And so she and Dr. Lee picked me up at the airport. She told Dr. Lee, hey, I'm going to go pick up my dad. You want to ride? I mean, she was, personally friendly with Dr. Lee, who is a blood spatter expert. You remember in the O.J. Simpson trial, the Dream Team hired Henry Lee to be the blood spatter expert to help give some kind of evidence, leaning away from O.J. Simpson. Anyway, so the two of them picked me up at the airport. That was, oh my God, look at that. Henry Lee flew into the airport the same time I did? No, he rode over with Robin to pick me up at the airport. He was already at where the hell they were staying in Phoenix, Arizona. And they both jointly picked me up, and it was like, wow, how nice. I was deeply impressed, that Dr. Lee would take time out of his busy schedule to see Jimmy. Yep. So we went up to his room, and of course, he quickly opened up his. Well, he was already there, so he had his, his stuff depacked, unpacked, and on his counter thingy, in his little kitchenette in his room that he was staying in, he had his little teapot, and he had his loose tea, and he said, Mr. Wilson, would you like some hot tea? I said, I would love to. So he poured me a little cup of tea and poured himself a cup of tea. And we jointly had tea while we talked about what I want to talk about. And I had an envelope with me, of course, a big manila envelope that was big enough to support a full page picture of this right here. And that was I said, well, a picture's worth 1,000 words, your ancestors told me. And here's the cover of the book that I intend to write. And I would love for you to be the co-author with me of this book. And here's what it looks like. So I showed it to him. He said, how nice. I would be happy to co-author a book with you. I mean, I didn't know what he was going to say. No, I can't do that. I said, okay, I'll take your name off there. I'll write the book myself and you won't be a co-author. But I'd love for you to be a co-author. He said, I would be delighted to be co-author with you on this. I said, okay, so this is how it'll be. I will write the book. And then I will send it to you, perhaps chapter by chapter. And then you can, do a few edits. Not a lot of edits, okay? Because I don't want to write this thing 3 times. So, but I'd like you to edit it, and you want to add a couple of things. I'm going to send you a table of contents first. So in case you had an idea, you might, suggest that to be in chapter 14. Because everything doesn't have to be in chapter 1. So I've never co-authored a book with someone as talented as you. He's written like 30 books. I've written 1. This one, that one there. I wrote that one. Pearson Education was the publisher, and that is an impressive, he knows what that means. Pearson is the biggest, largest, most impressive educational publisher. So when you sell a book to Pearson, that gets everyone's attention, other authors' attention for sure. So he knew what that meant, because I'm very proud of the fact that Pearson Education bought my very first book. Yeah. It wasn't like the Okefenokee Press. It was Pearson. Woo! Yeah, that was a fun meeting. I'll tell you that later, another time. But anyway, so that's my little encounter with Henry Lee. And we got to know each other very well because he said, Mr. Wilson, I'd like you to join me. I have a number of meetings. And I know you've, you're met your daughter here and principally to meet me. So that's very exciting. And why don't you join me in all my meetings? And then when we meet with whoever we're meeting with, then we can privately chat about what happened and give me your thoughts. And I'll give you my thoughts. And we'll come to some, consensus on what happened at that meeting. So he's such a, he's, he works up in Connecticut. And he's on the police force, or, he teaches there all the time. And so there are people that make forensic devices. Like one guy, we had lunch with one guy, and he had this handheld, thing that looked like a gun with a laser light on it. And you would use that to shine, you'd paint luminol on a surface, or spray luminol, sorry. And then you would use the infrared light to show if there was any fingerprints or blood, that had been cleaned up or whatever. So it would, luminol tends to, react with the blood in such a way that when you reflect ultraviolet light on it, it amplifies what was there before a cleanup occurred. If someone was trying to clean up a bloody mess after a terrible murder scene, Anyway, so this guy invented or whatever, this handheld thing. That was just one of the things. So, it was fun. I had, breakfast with Henry Lee. We had our 10 o'clock meeting with Henry Lee. And then we had, lunch with Henry Lee. And I had dinner with Henry Lee, and maybe Robin joined us for dinner, So, I spent the, 2 whole days with Dr. Henry Lee. It was really quite nice. And we got to know each other, and he got to respect the fact that, I'm a relatively sharp knife in the drawer. I'm not a dull blade. And I hung right in there with him, 'cause, I'm a cognitive person. He's I think he was a little older than I am. Maybe, I don't know. But I've seen him, like last year, he went to Maryland's Rotary Club luncheon. And she told me about that. She said, would you like to join me at the Rotary luncheon? I normally don't go because she's always, she's busy with all her, whatever she does at Rotary. And I don't think I'm allowed to come with her every lunch. I think if, you're going to go to lunches, you got to join the club and pay your $1,000 a year dues or whatever. So we pay $1,000 a year for her, but we're not paying $1,000 a year for me. I have a friend there, and he said, you really ought to join the Rotary. I'd love to have lunch with you every Friday. And I said, oh boy, we have to figure that out. So, but I could go, once a month. Anyway, this one time, Marilyn let me know that Dr. Lee, because he's very friendly with someone in Boca Raton that used to, have a restaurant for 25, 30 years. And Dr. Lee knows, Henry something. Last name leaves me. So he visits Henry every once in a while. And he was visiting Henry, going to play golf with Henry or something or other. And so Marilyn said, do you want to go to Rotary lunch? Because Dr. Lee's going to be there. I said, I would love to. So I went back in whatever, I don't know where. Let's see. I'm trying to, he's in one of the pictures. Oh, look at that. There's Jay Leno and Marilyn. Yeah, Jimmy's He's got cameras. He carries a camera. And I can't think of where that picture would be. But anyway, I took, let's see, let me just think a minute. Ooh, which one of these categories would that fit in? Well, maybe it could be in here. Look at that, I took pictures of bullets on a ruler. This is one of Dr. Henry. He sent me a whole bunch of images that he took of crime scenes, which I was going to incorporate in the book. Come on, where's Dr. Henry Lee? He's got to be in here somewhere. There he is. There's Jimmy and Dr. Henry Lee and my daughter in the middle. Let's see, he's a supervisor, fireman, I don't know. So I took this picture and made like 5 of them, 5x7s, you know, of the 3 of us in Phoenix, Arizona. You know, let's see if I touch the picture. If I see the XF data, that would be fun to see. Crapola. Yeah, I don't know. All right, I'll send it to myself. And I'll see if the XF data is in there. Anyway, it'll show the year and the date and the hour and the minute that it was taken. See, Henry Lee, Robin Jones. Oh, I for information. Sony DCST-1. There it is. You see that? 2004, June 19th at 1700 hours. So there you go. It's like 10, 1700 hours, 35 minutes, and 47 seconds. That's the rebob. So it's like 10, 9, 8. It was like 7:30 in the evening. Yeah, right. There's the photo. Show more. Could there be more? Auto fired. Return not detected. So I handed this my Sony camera, a Sony DCST-1. It's one of those handheld cameras. Yep. Yep. So that's it. I brought that down with me. And there's old smiling Jimmy with his daughter. This is in Phoenix, Arizona, in the lobby. See, authentication negative. So I did a system engineering plan so that with digital images that goes into the forensic laboratory, you know, because you don't have strips of negatives anymore. You got a card. And then when those images get placed into the server, I wrote a systems engineering plan that could tell if that image was changed from the image that was originally put in the server. So if it came, you know, if someone altered the image without the proper authorization, it would show, authentication negative with a line through it. And you got, it looks very official, doesn't it? I created that. Yeah. Authentication certified positive. Green. Green and not green. Caution. That's why it's that color. You know the caution light with the traffic light? Red, caution, green. There you go. Green means good. That means better watch out. The image is not the same as it was. So if you had the authority, right, to alter an image, then you keep getting these kinds of signals when you would look at it. Digital authentication, this was the name of my whole paper that I delivered to West Virginia University. I wrote a paper and delivered it to the science faculty at West Virginia, University of West Virginia, or West Virginia University. I forget. But anyway, I delivered. I mean, it was an all-day thing. It was 2.5 hours in the morning and 2.5 hours, 3 hours in the afternoon. I had a lunch break, which I went to lunch with some staff members, not the faculty, because the faculty were meeting at lunch to beat me up for the afternoon session. I delivered this without notes. I mean, it was just right from the brain. I mean, I had a overhead projector thingy to images to support what I was talking about. Anyway, so Florida Atlantic University, Mike Sewell, Legislative Director for the Honorable Clay Shaw. Oh, yes. There we go. I spoke with Scott Ellington and Mr. James Wilson offers the potential for enormous savings for law enforcement. Uh-huh. Yeah. And we wanted to get to see if Clay Shaw, this is 2002, so I got John Harlan to write this letter to Clay Shaw's office to see if they would join with me. That was my resume. How about that? Pretty cool. I had some video in there. There's pictures of me teaching a class. Yeah, we're going down memory lane here. This is all in that. There's the book that I wrote. Yeah. And there's a newspaper article. Yep. So there's my phone numbers and all that. See, FAU for you. FAU4U2.wordpress.com. Yeah. And the website has over 3,000 hits a day. It's more than that now. We've had over 26 million people visit that website. 416-1100.com. Bayshore Investments. That's the name of my real estate company. That's where my real estate license. I'm a real estate broker. What else we got going here? There we go. A little thing of I don't know why the website counter isn't here. It should show 26 million something or other. It doesn't. There's something wrong with the counter. Let's go to my homepage again. Let's see if the counter is active now. The bottom. It should be the bottom of every. No, it's not. Let's go home. Go home. I created this website a long time ago when I was taking pictures in Europe for the USA soccer people. Come on. Do we have a counter? No, it's not up. There's something wrong. Anyway, without belaboring that, I just wanted to show you the website because it's, it's amazing. I've had 26 million people look at the pictures from all over the world, And it houses lots of pictures, about 400,000 of them. I was hired by FAU College of Education. Look at that sweet thing. The bowl of apples. Is that education or what? Yeah, here's ADH US Pride. That was the name of this, because hanging around her neck is like credentials to get into this thing. That's what they called it. Unique cars, see that? With the hotel in the background. That's called the money shot. You capture everything in the picture. This is one of my favorite shots that I've taken at the Indian Summer event up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Marilyn's sister was the director of that Indian Summer event. Look at that picture. I took that at Indian Summer. Is she a sweetie or what? She's all grown up now. And there's Marilyn. That's my favorite Indian. She's a beauty, huh? Look at that. Whew. Yeah, I got lucky with that one. Married 40-something years. 44 years. Woo! Hanging around with old Jimmy. Yep, there's Clayton something or other. That was when no one knew who he was. Took this picture of him a long time ago. Shelton, right? Blake Shelton, yeah. 7 p.m. Indian Summer 2007. That was, like I say before, anyone. So Indian Summer, paid, I think they paid him $30,000 to put on a show, which I took a bunch of pictures. Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones. He's holding up the guitar at the end. The lighting is, see the lighting in the background. I mean, that was, look at that. I took all the color out. Just hard lighting from the side. You can see the microphone in the background. He's playing his guitar and singing. Yep. I got some good shots. I got some shots of him, and I did it in a square format and sent it to him. I said, hey, why don't you use one of these to put on a CD-ROM cover? He never answered me. I mean, look at some of these shots. He probably never saw them. He would love to have one of these on one of his CD. Look at that. Woo! He's really quite a performer. Something like that would be a great CD-ROM. I like the black and white one because you don't see black and white pictures so much anymore in this day of color. So I took all the color out, or 95% of the color. It looks like there's a little tiny bit of color, but it's essentially black and white. But it shows a lot of intensity in his singing. He did a good job, I must say. But as I remember, Judy Dordell was the director of Indian Summer. There you go, Indian Summer Festival. That was the logo that they used. Blake Shelton concert at Indian Summer. That was in their brochure. I like this one too. You got the lighting. You see going across. But there's other lighting. I mean, this is a full commercial outdoor stage that he performed on. the Miller stage. And that's probably a bit between songs rather than the last song. Maybe this, I think, was probably the last song. We Can Touch Information, the I. It was taken with a EOS 1D Mark III. That was one of Canon's best digital cameras. I only carried the best. 28 millimeter, focal length f3.5. 1/640th of a second. ISO 3200. I had that piped up, you could go to 3200 ISO back then. But this is 2007, right? This is, a number of years ago. Sorry, Bob. No flash. Yep. Yeah. Shelton. Well, I like it. I remember taking all these pictures. Even though, it's the funny thing when you take a picture, that's daytime, Indian summer. There it is, Indian summer. Yep, there's that one. I've taken a lot of pictures. Going down memory lane here. But I really, I was hoping he would pick up some of this. I said, I'd do it for free. Just give me photo credit. Just put my name down there and the website in the corner of the bottom corner of the CD-ROM. That's all I want. And he never heard from him. Oh well, what are you going to do? There's the RNC show. Yeah. See, September 9th? Oh no, this is when I image edited it, which is recently. Like today. Yeah. Because I grabbed that from the, somewhere. Oh, it was from, what do you call it? From the article that I was reading. 16. Kellyanne Conway is going after the guy on the right side of this picture. I can't have you lying on national television. Oh, yeah. On Trey Gowdy's Sunday night program. Yep. I don't know why abortion is such a, it's something that the liberals throw out there to, garner up some votes because the Republicans don't want abortion. That's baloney. That's a bunch of baloney. They basically, carved up Roe v. Wade and threw it back to the states. The Supreme Court said, hey, Roe v. Wade has nothing to do with abortion. Read it. The word abortion isn't even in there. Some over 50 years, they've thrown the abortion, overlapped it over Roe v. Wade, and it doesn't belong on the national level. Abortion should be controlled state by state. Get it closer to the people, and if your state legislature decides on an abortion situation that you don't like, well, don't vote for those legislators. Get them out of office locally. This should not be something that should come from the oracle of the national government. No. Each state legislature should decide how they want to deal with abortions. Liberal states, you can get an abortion almost any time, even in late pregnancy, which is, murder. I've seen fluoroscopes of abortions. It's, it's a science, it's a medical instrument, but it looks like a coat hanger. And they stick it up inside you and rip off arms and legs, off a fetus, and it kills the fetus. And then, of course, you abort. That's abortion. That's how it's, it's primitive as hell. And abortions are best done early. Don't wait 8 months to decide, well, I don't think I want, that's nuts. And, as science, women have given premature births, okay? 2 and 3 months early. And the world of science has progressed itself to the point where even with, a fetus being born prematurely, even several months, they can keep the fetus in an incubator, for the remaining, what would have been the remaining term, so that the eyes and the lungs and all the different organs get mature enough to survive outside of the womb or the incubator because it was prematurely born. So, 100 years ago, when a kid was prematurely born, it just died, because it couldn't support itself. Its lungs weren't mature enough. Its liver wasn't mature enough. Its circulatory system wasn't mature enough because it didn't stay inside the womb, for the full, 9-month term. So that's what a premature birth, that's what happened 100 years ago. But today, a premature birth, the kid ends up, a 1 pound, fetus. It's been known that a 1 pounder has been placed in an incubator with all kinds of, electrodes attached to it and things, and, in place of the umbilical cord, which has, obviously been broken. But the incubator was able to sustain, life of that fetus, bringing it up to, maturity, the 9-month maturity, and bringing the weight of that little, bugger up to like 4 or 5 pounds from 1 pound. So as science is capable of, sustaining the life of premature birth, it gives rise to the fact that, when you're having an abortion in month 5, you're really killing something that is, this is what a 5-month-old fetus looks like. It's got arms, it's got legs, it's got fingers, it's got eyelashes, come on. You can't kill this thing. So that's the rub to the scientific community and to conservatives around the world, is that abortion should not be a form of birth control. Do birth control at the, inception, time yourself, Jeez. Anyway, I want to. It's I was a pre-med student, so I've seen what abortion is from. A fluoroscope is like an X-ray that's live. It's an X-ray that keeps on X-raying. And if you've ever seen a fluoroscope, what goes on with an abortion, a late-term abortion, it'll make you throw up. It's so unsightly you can't even stand it. So women that have late-term abortions would see something like that. They would. So aside from, I'm just talking from a medical doctor, which I'm not. But I was a pre-med student, so I have a little, sensitivity to such things. So I'm not talking about it from a politician standpoint. I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the medical community. I would not be a gynecologist performing abortions. I wouldn't be one of those guys. I would be somebody else. I don't know what kind of doctor I would have been if I went to medical school, but I was a pre-med student, undergraduate, and had a double major of chemistry and biology with a minor in math. How weird is that? And anyway, I ended up being a banker. The line to stardom is not a straight line up, so I did a zigzag. And I'll tell you the story on why I wasn't a medical doctor. But it had to do with my girlfriend, whose parents were doctors. And she said, if you become a doctor, we're not going to be together anymore. I said, oh, that's pretty definitive. So I can't do doctoring? She said, no. I said, all right, I won't do it. I had a scholarship to med school, and I didn't take it because I took Ricky. That was her name, R-I-K-K-I. I took Ricky instead. And a year later, she dumped me. She went to Case Western Reserve. I went to Case Western Reserve in the math department as a teacher of Boolean algebra. She was an undergraduate. I was a graduate. I went to Union and graduated with a math minor. So anyway, with the promise of going to medical school up there, and Ricky Bowen is an undergraduate there. Anyway, so she ended up being romantically involved with someone at Case in Western Reserve, because I was going back and forth, because I was teaching in Florida, and I'd be visiting her up in Cleveland, Ohio, and going back and forth and back and forth. And finally, she said, Jimmy, we're done. I said, ooh, guess that leaves me out, huh? So I gave up a scholarship in medical school because of her, and then she dumped me anyway. Oh, well. And by then I was a little less interested in the medical school thing. I don't know if I think it was University of Louisville or University of Kentucky. I forget which one. I think I had interest out of both. But I don't think I checked back, to see if they were still interested in Jimmy. I don't think I bothered. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, we have something. We have a package that I'm going to get sometime between 1:30 and 4:30. Yep, all right, well. I was supposed to get... I bought and it's supposed to be... Let's try UPS. Ooh, I love this internet stuff. Okay, what do we got going here? Do we have anything? Have I ever logged in? Oh, I guess we're on hyperspace here. Oh, that wasn't the app. There was some other stupid thing. This is the app. Oh gosh, I'm all loused up on this computer. Or I'm a bad. I bought a book from 45 Books. Guess who 45 is? The 45th President of the United States. He's trying to be the 47th president of the United States. Biden is 46th president. So Trump is trying to be 45 and 47. 47, that president is elected on November 5th. One of the very important election dates in modern history. I'm a older guy that has been to a lot of elections. I've been a poll operator. I've been a cashier of a polling location in Boynton Beach, actually, for the Palm Beach County Supervisor of Elections. I actually worked in election polls, so just see what that's like. I've taken the cashier. That's the highest level of a polling person. You know, you got 5 or 6, 7 people that work in a polling location. And the head person, if you look at the family tree, is the cashier. It's the highest paid person, and it's the number one person on the org chart of a polling situation. And I've been trained. I went to training. It's like 6 hours of training. It's good training. I will say it's comprehensive, good training. Since fast forward, you know, it's probably 12 hours of training pushed into 6 hours. I mean, it's fast paced. It moves right along, and you got to pay attention at the end. And if you don't pass the test, you know, you're SOL as far as getting, as far as being a cashier. So you take your test and you go up to the front of the room. You know, I'm kind of like a careful test taker. I don't like rush through it and I'm the first one up, you know. To me, it's not a contest on who finishes the first. It's a contest on who gets 100. And when I went up, and then you hand your paper over to the guy that's sitting down in front of you. They had 2 or 3 people, you know, at the head desk, a bunch of folding tables. And you hand your paper to them, and then you look at them, and they look at you, and you look at them, and they look at you. Then they look at the paper, and they put check marks on your paper, and they go down the bottom. Oh, God. And he looks at me, he says, Mr. Wilson, you've received 100 on this test. I said, oh, how nice. Thank you. Puts 100 on there, and then circles it, and then he keeps it, because he puts it, he said, I have to retain this, because I have to turn it in to the people, and they're going to, you know, put your score and everything and keep the record, you know, that you've successfully completed our training, and will likely be calling you, you know, for a cashier position in one of our polling locations at one of the next, you know, elections. You know, like presidential preference, whatever, you know. So now you got the only election left in Florida is the November 5th one, the presidential one. So I wrote them an email and said, okay, so what's up? You want to use me in South Florida, Southern Palm Beach County, somewhere close to where I live in one of the polling locations for the presidential election? I will be interested in doing that. Since I've gone through the training, I might as well volunteer myself to work on the poll. It's hard work, you know, because you have to get there at 6 in the morning. You don't get out of there until 8 o'clock at night. So it's 14 hours. You know, you're allowed a couple of breaks, 15-minute breaks. You can't leave the building. You can leave the room. You know, the last presidential election that I did, it was in the big room attached to the public library. And they emptied out the room of all the furniture and put in, you know, all the stand-up voting thingies and some other voting equipment. And polling tables that you have to unfold, at 6 in the morning, because at 7 a.m. it opens. So you got to have all your stuff working. You got to be connected online to the central office, and you got to do your online backline forward and make sure the internet connections are secure. And cashier has to make sure the whole place is set up right, inside and out. You got signs outside. You got so 6:40. I got to walk outside and make sure, the proper signs are in the proper spot. There's an outside deputy that's in charge of doing that. But, you got to go outside and make sure it's done right. Because there's a map, and the signs have to be in a specific place and a specific number of feet from the front door. I think it's like a 150-foot distance that there can't be any campaign materials within 150 feet of the front door, or any door that has access to the actual polling location where people vote. Anyway, so I got trained and all that. That's good. It's so I haven't been told that I have been selected as a polling clerk. So I have clerk training. That's a good thing. Seems like they need people, all the time. I just want to be. I don't want to drive a half hour to a. They had me a half hour away last time, and I told them, I said, this time I don't want to be a half hour away, so sign me up early, so that I'm 15-minute drive tops, because at 6 in the morning I don't want to have to get up, leave my place at 5:30, which means I have to get up at 4:45. Give me a break. So I'm putting my dibs in early for southeastern Palm Beach County. So this is September. So this 60 days. I would say this week or next week, I'm going to write them another email, say, hey, what's up? Or I might call them. That's probably better. I got their phone number, to get up into the supervisor of elections office and call them up. They'll answer the phone. I'll introduce myself and say, okay, so what's up with me having a clerk position in southeastern Palm Beach County? Let's hear from you. Anyway, it's a lot of work, but I'll do it. They pay you. They don't pay a lot. It's less than $20 an hour, put it that way. And it's, important position when you're in charge of the entire polling location. You got to handle the media, you got to handle the police, you got to handle whatever happens, because you're the head dog for the polling location. So if there's any kind of a demonstration, I'm the guy that throws them out. And if they don't respond, then I call the police. It's as simple as that. You got your cell phone, you go 911. My name is I'm polling location, whatever, and this is my address. And we have the beginnings of a problem with some people in here that are raising ruckus. And I'm not in a position to fight them. So you come in here with your, come in here and arrest them or do something. Get them out of here. They're disturbing the other people that are trying to vote. That's what you do. Call the police. And they're on guard waiting. They're cruising around. And if there's any kind of trouble, they will be at my side within a couple of minutes. It won't be 20 minutes. It'll be like 2 minutes tops, because they're cruising around waiting for something that might pop up. Anyway. See, you got to get all the training to know what to do and how to do it. Well, the training there is call the police. Don't try to be a hero. You know, who knows if they have a weapon, a knife or a gun or, phew, because you're unarmed and vulnerable. So you don't want to make a mistake. You don't want to get the people that are voting. You don't want to have them put at risk. You don't want any of your staff people put at risk. You don't want to put yourself at risk. Call the police. They're armed and dangerous. You are not. Jeez. Oh, yeah, it's 10:51. I've been on here like it pretty much 9:01. This stopwatch is not. Look at that, 46. According to my up on my control panel here, we've been on air here for an hour and 51 minutes. And this is the day, oh my God, the iPhone 16 gets announced. Yeah, wow. I almost forgot. Jeez. I was so interested in, what's going to happen, because then you got presidential debates tomorrow night. Oh, God. Marilyn was looking around and she heard there's going to be some debate party sites, where a bunch of people get together and watch the debate, at local bars and taverns, so people will be yucking it up and cheering one way or the other for, who got a zinger in and who didn't get a zinger, and, look at his face and look at her face, and oh my God. Ugh. Trump is such a character. What's his prep rate? He didn't have debate prep. This Kamala's, put herself, hit herself and somewhere, I don't know, Camp David, or I don't know where, for a week in debate prep. Can you imagine? She's memorizing her platform, which she's not told anybody. So she has to figure out what her platform is, because right now it's who the hell knows. She hasn't told anybody what her platform is. She hasn't published it on her website. So it's really quite a mystery on what her platform is. So she's learning what her platform is. In a big 3-ring binder, she has to memorize her platform. Well, that's, not exactly spoken from the heart when you're reading, who wrote it. Since it's a deep secret, that's kind of weird, huh? Speaking of weird, let me show you a picture of, there it is. Look at that. That's my new belt buckle. Don't mess with Texas. It doesn't say Texas. It's a Texas star, but it's got the Tesla logo in the middle. That's my belt buckle. That is my shirt. It's my pants. I just bent down and took a picture of my belt buckle right here. Yes, sir, Bob. And I had to dig up this puncher duncher here, because this is punched holes in my belt, so that this belt buckle would hold, because I'm on my, 6th or 7th spot on the belt where you have your belt buckle. And this buckle is no longer on my belt because I replaced it with that good-looking doodad. So you say, why do I have that? Well, it was an item that was available in the Tesla marketing thingy, because when we took control of this Model Y, a $50,000 car, $50,050. It was actually 52,650. 52,6, yeah, 50. And they, when we got the car in March of this year, they were in a hurry to deliver a bunch of cars because they wanted to have it all tuck in the first quarter of the year. So they offered us an opportunity to pick up the 2024 model of the Model Y a couple months early because our anniversary is in June. The anniversary of taking control of the Model Y. It's also our wedding anniversary. It's on the 13th, if I believe that, right? Don't want to forget that date. Ooh. Yeah, no. 6/13, 1980. Oh, jeez. Or 81, actually. 81. I got to know her in 80, and I got married a year and a half later. Phew. That was quite exciting to meet Marilyn 44 years ago. Yeah. Anyway, we like driving our Tesla. Anyway, so when we got the Tesla, I found out, a month or so later that we got points. What? Tesla points. What is a Tesla point? I don't know, but you take 4,000 points and you can buy 2,000 miles. 2,000 miles of supercharger charging. So we did that. So of the 10,000 points we got for picking up a $50,000 car, I saw this buckle, and it was 1,000 points. So I spent 1,000 points with this buckle, whatever that's worth, and doggy dollars, Tesla dollars, Tesla points, and I used 4,000 of the points to buy 2,000 of supercharger miles. So and I can show you what I mean. Here's my Tesla app. Oh, Marilyn's driving somewhere. Town Center Road. So you can see here we got 3,400 miles driven. So I want to go up here to this 3. See where it says charging. Let's go there. So see, I had 2,000, so 478 miles of the 2,000 miles available of free supercharging miles. Well, it wasn't actually free because I bought it with my Tesla miles, which actually I didn't know I had. All right, let's go back. My products. Let's touch that tab. No. Oh, crap. Let's see. No. Live TV. I'll have to figure out where you, maybe it's this one here. Refer a friend. Let's go here. Start referring. No, that's not it. I thought it was one of these things. Supercharging. You got. Oh, darn it. Anyway, I can't find it. But there was a place where you could buy stuff. All right, Discover. Let's do Discover. Oh, there it is. There's the buckle. So let me touch on the buckle, see what happens. Accessorize your Tesla. So you can get things, wires, apparel. Oops. I guess it comes under apparel. Men, women, kids. Let's do men. Tees, sweaties, outerwear, hats, socks. Oh. Where the heck is the buckle? It wouldn't be under hats. Let's do bestsellers. No. No, we saw the buckle somewhere. It was in the advertisement. I saw a buckle. There it is right there. You see the buckle? So maybe they're... I don't know where to find the buckle. But it was 1,000 points. I remember that. That's interior, exterior, wheels, parts, keys, wallets. No. Oh well. It's not parts. Maybe I can... Oh well, I can't find it. It was 1,000 points. I have points left over, so I got to find wherever that is, because when I'm out of my 2,000 miles for the card, or the Tesla charging, I want to get another 2,000 miles. You got to use them within 6 months. Well, unless you're driving less than 190 miles a month. It's hard to not end up using the Tesla miles. So we'll see how this, because the miles expire in 6 months. So between now and February, I have to use up, 1,600 miles. So we'll see how that goes. We have a plug in our garage here, but the guy's been, in the way, so to speak. There's two cars. There's a plug on the back of a column between parking spots 265 and 266. Well, if cars are on both sides of that column, I can't get to plug in my car. Because we're driving a Tesla and you plug it in. So if that happens and we get down to, 20% fuel, 80 miles, 60 miles of range left remaining, then we go to the supercharger and fill up there. Take minutes out of your life and just plug it into a super fast charger. It puts range in there at the rate of like 600 miles, or 300 miles in 30 minutes. So... we did that, I think yesterday or the day before, and filled her up to 90%, which will be good for most of the week, and maybe all of the week. So, with since we got the miles, we may as well use them. The free miles. What else are you going to use with the miles? So you use it in supercharger miles. Apparently, we got the miles, or the points, because we took control of a new Model Y. I say took control because to say bought seems like an inaccurate term when you're leasing, because you didn't really acquire it because someone else owns it and you're leasing it. So that's why I'm avoiding using the word bought the car, because we didn't actually buy the car, we leased the car. So because we leased the car, we got 10,000 points. It's the same amount of points you would get as if you bought the car. But we didn't buy it, we leased it, just to be perfectly honest. And when you're acquiring, using, or otherwise a high technology product like an electric car, and particularly from a company like Tesla, who updates the software like every 2 weeks, they don't update the hardware, they update the software. But they are making notes for updating the hardware, so that 4 years from now, we end up, with the next Tesla, if we take control of a Model Y again. Leasing is the way to go. It's actually the cheapest form of financing, because you're paying for the depreciation on the car, and you're paying for the finance charge for the money that was used to acquire the car by the leasing company. Because the leasing company actually acquires the car, and then they lease it to me or you. So you got the money cost and you got the depreciation cost. You add both those pieces together, and that's your lease payment. Our lease payment for a $50,000 car is $600, like on the nose, $600. The long range, white interior. So long range as opposed to not long range is an extra. And the white interior is $1,500 or $2,000 extra. And then we got a $2,600 discount. It was a line item in the statement of the car transaction, which said discount $2,600 for taking the car early. An incentive to take the car. So a $52,600 car became a $50,050 car. $50,050. Lease price $600. 3-year lease, $600 a month. It's about $400 a month for the insurance, so it's $1,000 a month proposition for a $50,000 car. My son is a sales manager for Lexus, and he tells me that is a very good leasing price for a $50,000 vehicle. He said we would charge probably 10 to 12% higher than that. It would probably be closer to a $700 a month deal at Lexus leasing than what you got at Tesla leasing. He said, so you got a very favorable transaction. I said, well, thank you very much. Number 4 son, yeah. He's selling cars like crazy. He sold 2 yesterday. He's, 9 days in the month, and he's sold, I think, 9 or 10 cars so far. So he sells all the extras, Whew. He's a selling pool. But he's, he's a big, tall, 6'4.5", or whatever his height is. He's at least 6'4". And he's a good-looking kid, well-spoken gentleman. He's not pushy. And he's knowledgeable. He's a smart one. So he's, all our kids are smart ones. They're always outsmarting their parents. It's good. It's good competition. Keeps you alive. Yeah, sure does. He was over last night, and he sold 2 cars yesterday, which, you can sell a car a day, you're doing really good. To sell 2 cars in one day, that's, phew. And it's not related. It's not like husband and wife bought a car. He's had some transactions where husband and wife each bought a car, in the afternoon or whatever. This was not that. There's 2 separate transactions, sold 2 separate cars. He says, yeah, you're smoking hot. So that makes up for a day where you don't sell anything. And one day when you sell 2. And they're all Lexus, so they're, that's the highest end Toyota product. And Toyota makes, they make good stuff. Their SUVs are like trucks, that, dressed up in casual looking clothing. So they know how to make vehicles, and brakes and engines and all that. They're dabbling in electric, but they really don't have any. They make a few, but they really don't have many, and they don't have 300-mile range. They have like 200-mile range, so they really don't have. They don't have it matched up with the right battery, capacity. You need 80 kilowatts, 75 kilowatts of, lithium iron or lithium phosphate or lithium something batteries. They're a little more sophisticated than the typical lithium ion, little cells that you can put in a flashlight. Because they have to, they should withstand, 1,000 recycles. And they need to, last 8 years. They can't run out of capacity in 3 or 4 years, like a cell that you would find, like a lithium polymer cell that you'd find in a cell phone. Yeah. All right. It's Monday. It's 11:15. Today is the day at 1 o'clock. And I have to get my channel ready. The streaming source. I think I'm going to stream it through YouTube. YouTube Live. So I'll get that link all ready to go on watching the Apple presentation of the iPhone 6, of whatever products they're going to announce today at 1 p.m. Eastern. It's Apple's major event. They're all in the, all the invited guests. All 3,000 of them, or I think that's the count. They're all hovering all around that upstairs location. Then they go downstairs into the big super theater. They stopped doing that for a couple of years because of the pandemic, COVID-19, the virus, the Chinese virus that Trump shut down all. No airplanes from China, effective 48 hours. It's a 48-hour notice. We're shutting down all flights from China into the United States. All flights. And that includes flights that, China to, to some secondary location, and that secondary location to U.S. Any flight originating from China, regardless of whether it's a direct or stopping somewhere else, will not enter the United States. Effective, this was, like 7 years ago, when the Chinese virus was leaked all over the world and killed tens of thousands of people in the United States. Apparently that virus is very impactful to the elderly, which I'm included. Trump did a good job in, dealing with that. he jumped to attention on that and helped save a lot of lives in the United States by taking decisive and prompt action. All right. We've got 2 hours and 15 minutes, 16 minutes. All right. You got an hour and 45 minutes to get yourself ready for the big show. And with that, I'm going to wake up my iPad here. It went to sleep on me. Yep, got to put it in. There we go. Let me go ahead and go here. Oh, gosh. There we go. There's my belt buckle. Maybe we'll end the broadcast with my belt buckle. I usually have it on today's date, but we can all remember that 9/9/24 was the birth of my belt buckle. And I couldn't wear it until I found my punch and punched a couple holes in my belt so that I had turned the belt inside out. So I got, a nice, I've used this belt for a number of years, so it's got that used look on it. And I got my Tesla belt buckle. Yes, if they had Tesla under my pants, I'd probably own those too. Well, I have Tesla under my shirt. I haven't seen one of those. They probably have, these workers that wear Tesla shirts. How come they don't have that available to buy in public? They probably do somewhere. Maybe I'll use up some of my points on Tesla shirts. There is logoed stuff you can buy, sweatshirts and something, some kind of things. I thought the belt buckle was a nice change from just the regular, from this. You can't see it now because I'm full screen on my Tesla belt. But we're gonna turn up Epidemic instrumental royalty-free music, which is my background music, and I'm going to let that go full screen, and you'll hear 30 seconds or so of Epidemic, and then we'll go off the air until probably tomorrow morning. And we'll go over some of what's going on with Apple with their new iPhone and see what Jimmy and Marilyn might. We're on a special deal with AT&T where we can turn our phone in every year and get a new one and turn in the old one. And all they do is they reset the 36-month payment thingy, which is about $45 a month. And I call that, it's an installment sale. So when you order the phone, you pay the sales tax on the device, which is like $85, and you make the first installment monthly payment of roughly $45, and $45 thereafter. And then next year, which is this year. If we decide we're going to go for the iPhone 16, which is highly likely, then they just restart the payments and they cancel the remaining payments on the iPhone 15. And I have 30 days to send it back. And then they cancel that contract. And then the new contract is for the $45 a month for the new phone. Now you can stick with the phone for 3 years and pay it off. There's no interest. They literally take the price of the phone and they divide it by 36, and that's your monthly payment. No interest. If you buy it through AT&T. And then you can turn the phone in at the end of 1 year. You can't turn it in less than a year. The contract has to go at least a year. And, if it's a month early, then you got to pay the 1 month plus the sales tax. If you turn it in 2 months earlier than a year, then you got to pay 2 months installment because they want you to pay 12 months worth. And then they'll reach the next one. So since, Apple keeps doing this every year, we're not having to pay extra months. and I've got it. I've got all the mechanisms to repackage the phone, and and I make pictures of and I keep records. When I take it into the post office, because it's usually USPS that takes the devices and returns them to a Miami depot of some sort. And I make record of that. When I hand it to the postal clerk, I want a receipt so that I can prove I turned it over to the post office. I can't guarantee delivery, but I can guarantee I gave it to the postal clerk. And that's all I have to prove to AT&T in case they challenge the fact that they did or didn't get the phone. Yeah, so you got to keep your evidence. So I got a little system on how to do that in the last 2 or 3 annual returns. I think they've done enough with the enhancements to the camera and how to take the pic, because they've added a button. They added a button on the right side of the phone, which actually is a capture button for the camera. So they decided, in their wisdom, that the camera is such an important feature of the iPhone that they actually put a button on the side, on the right side of the phone, where there's only one button, which that button wakes the phone up. I don't know if it does anything else. It probably does something else, but they're adding another button so that they moved the one button up a little bit, and they added another button that are, both of the buttons are about an inch apart, somewhere to the central of the phone. And the lowermost button, I believe, functions with the camera. So you push that and it brings the camera up. And so halfway down, the camera pops up. And if you push it the rest of the way down, it captures a picture. And you lift it up halfway again, and it starts to expose and focus for the next shot. Push it down all the way, and it takes the next picture. So that's, I believe, I read somewhere that's how that button works, which is very exciting, for the use of the cameras on the phone. The cameras are spectacular. And for the super wide angle camera, they've upped the pixel count to 45 million pixels from, I think, 12 million. So that's quite an increase in pixel count. So that the wide angle camera will operate in super low light because of all these extra pixels. Yes, sirree. So I think, those two factors, the one thing about iPhone, what they do is they do incremental increases. Little increase, a little improvement here, a little improvement there. They don't want to put all the improvements in at one time, because then they'll run out of improvements for the next year. They always make it incrementally better. Well, AT&T has also made that incrementally capable, because they allow you to turn the phone in every year. So I'm all ready to, do, and we don't know when you can order the phone. It'll be sometime this week. 8 a.m. Eastern is a big commencement. Boom, all of a sudden. It's like the start of a race. And then you order the phone on Wednesday and they deliver it on Friday or something like that. I don't know, is this week or next week? It's, sometime in mid-September, you should be able to have the device in your hands. Maybe Monday. So maybe they allow you to order it on Friday and you get it on Monday. Or that's over a weekend. I don't know. I think they deliver it overnight. But I think the overnight has to be on a weekday. I don't think they do overnight from Friday to Monday. They might. I don't know. They probably do. We'll find that out today at 1 p.m. Yes, sir, Bob. So, you all have a good day. I'm going to have an early lunch because at 12:45, I'm going to be all ready to watch that Apple show at 1 p.m. Eastern. Be there or be square. See you tomorrow.